All right, final video of the year.
Here it is, the one you grubs have been just champing at the bit for all year.
People love the cynicism. They love the hate.
That's right.
And that's what we're here to deliver.
Well, I mean, we love it also.
We do.
We're like you.
Yep.
The common grub.
That's right. So please leave a like because we're going to be talking about the 13 biggest bombs of the year.
We put on our grub pants one leg at a time. 13, you said. 13 biggest bombs.
Unlucky for some, including all of these movies.
All these people.
And some bonus ones. Of course, we already looked at the hits video. You might recognize that video as the one that does significantly less numbers than this one.
You probably don't remember it at all. You could go back.
Yeah. Don't.
No, watch this one.
Yeah. Also, just a bit of housekeeping in terms of how this works. We take the budget of the movie, which is usually an estimate, double it, or add 100 million if it's a really big movie, and that's for marketing, distribution, what cinemas take. These are all estimates, obviously.
If you have a different system, that's great for you.
Yep.
So many grubby thumbs up for you, buddy.
Oh my God, the greasiest thumbs up.
You've earned them.
Yeah.
And sorry to anybody who worked really hard on these movies, especially the crew or behind the scenes or what have you. You probably did everything you could.
I hope you got paid.
Yeah. Same.
Properly, yeah. Also, bearing in mind, it doesn't take into account streaming and merchandise and all these things that can often make a franchise or a movie popular, a few of which that we will talk about along the way.
All right.
Let's start at number 13, a movie that looks like a fake movie. It's called Fly Me to the Moon. On a budget of $100 million. Apparently only about 50 for marketing and distribution. It made $42 million. This was initially going to be an Apple exclusive streaming thing. But they did some test screenings it came back as
positive.
Positive.
You've tested positive for fake movie, quite frankly.
It looks like the fake movie that Channing Tatum is in the movie Don John.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It looks like a fake movie in a movie where Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum play actors who eventually fall in love or something.
Exactly.
And that one's a bit more gritty and real.
John Cusack in American Sweetheart.
Absolutely. John Cusack in Grosse Pointe Blank. Unrelated. I just like that movie.
John Cusack, Con Air.
Nice.
Remember when he Con Aired?
Yes.
I mean, he had some help from Nicolas Cage.
That's right.
He wasn't on his own, Mason.
No, he wasn't carrying that movie.
Anyways, it's about filming a fake moon landing. And I don't know.
Is it based on real events? I don't know.
I don't know.
Great. But I bet they had fun having different hairstyles and whatever, and
sure
clothes and cardigans and so forth. I bet that was a laugh riot on set. But they had a nice time.
Number 12, we've got The Bike Riders on a budget of $40 million. It made $36 million. This one kept getting bounced around in terms of whether it was going to get distributed, whether it was even going to go to streaming straight away. Like Disney didn't want to release it through Fox Searchlight or something along those lines.
That's right.
And it's got big names in it. It's got Austin Butler. It's got Thomas Hardy. It's got another person, probably.
That's right. I would have liked to have seen this one.
Jodie Comer's in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen this one.
But where is it?
I don't think it made it to cinemas in Australia. Or it did just maybe one of those niche indie cinemas for a day or something, you know.
Apparently it's all right. I found an article, though, via Screen Rant, so you're going to love this. They said, actually, this was a hit on streaming, and I did some digging on this, and it said, The Bike Riders ranks as the 10th most popular movie on streaming for the week of August 22nd to 28. So if that constitutes a hit, I don't know, man. I think somebody's reading these numbers wrong.
It says they charged $1 million a viewing?
Yeah.
So I guess it's a hit.
I guess it is a hit.
Scratch it off the list. All right, there we go.
Yeah, that means it got 42 viewings. At 11, we've got the capping off of the trilogy of Zachary Levi's I'm a Boy But I'm a Man saga.
Harold and the Purple Crayon?
That's right. So we had Shazam. He was a boy, but he's a man. We had Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, Boy, But a Man. We had this one. Budget of $40 million, made $32 million. Yeah, I mean, he's I don't know what he's up to, man.
This one's just depressing, really.
It really is.
And here's the thing as well. So I didn't know anything about this beyond it's based on a
popular children's book.
Children's book, and it's about like a little toddler who gets a purple crayon and draws his own world and etc.
But what if that boy grew up into a man and then came into the real world? What are you doing?
You'd think that if this was based on a children's book, it'd be about a boy, and he thinks he's an ordinary boy, and maybe he gets bullied or whatever, and then he finds a purple crayon, and he can make purple crayon, and he can make all his dreams come true, and then it ends up in the hands of the bully, and he makes bullying, he makes them draw some.
I think that's what this movie is about with Jermaine Clements, though, or something, but they're all men.
Well, I was going to say, why wouldn't it be a boy? I don't understand. Who's this for?
Don't know, man.
I guess it's for Zachary Levi.
Yeah,
Good on him.
I guess it is. So, of course, Zachary Levi, I don't think it's a result of this. I think it's just his general, he's done with Hollywood. He's gone off to make non-woke movies, I think, through the Daily Wire or something.
Terrific.
Good luck to you. God bless you, Zachary Levi.
You got to ride a fine line there.
Yeah.
You got to do the anti-woke movies, but God forbid you put a woman in it who can do anything. You know what I mean?
know, right? Yeah.
Then you're in trouble.
I mean, Gina Carano learned that lesson with that
Yeah.
ranch movie.
Oh, as if a woman could hold a rifle.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it?
Can't. Also, there was that article, of course, by THR that off the back of Shazam, like he was upset, and this is all conjecture, that he didn't become like Chris Evans or The Rock in terms of movie stardom by taking on a superhero role. But I think he should have maybe gone the Ryan Reynolds route of like, Ryan Reynolds makes fun of, Green Lantern. He's not like, meh.
And I would also say that Chris Evans probably did the right thing in diversifying
Absolutely.
after Captain America.
Yeah, and even before.
Well, that's true. And also, I would say that probably Captain America as a character has more depth than Shazam does, who's just like, I'm a boy, but I'm a man.
Yeah.
Whereas Captain America's like, I'm a boy, and then I became a man, and then I was in a war.
Yeah, and then I'll kill you.
That's right.
Yeah, good
and
stuff.
then he did Defending Jacob.
Yeah, Defending Jacob.
He did Knives Out.
He defended Jacob. He knifed out.
He did Ghosted, that fake movie.
He did.
You got to do one fake one.
He did make that fake. I read one. He did read one.
Oh, yeah.
We might talk about it. Next up at number 10, we've got The Fall Guy. On a budget of $140 million, this made $181 million. It's expected that it's going to lose about $50 million. That's what the trades are saying. Now, you might think, what? This was a new IP. This is a new idea, fresh, and people aren't going to see new ideas.
I don't think that at all. It was a TV show. It had the guy from the $6 Million Man in it.
Yeah, it was a TV show that people remember. I mean, I didn't love it, but it's a bit of fun, It's a homage to stunt work.
Yeah, it is a bit of fun. David Leitch directed
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it is a bit of fun. I should give it a rewatch. It is on all the streaming right now. But my biggest problem with it was, as a love letter to stunt work, and given that they did a bunch of stunt work in this movie, it never looked like they were doing stunt work.
No.
They put so much digital fuzz over it that it looked like everything was being done on a soundstage.
It looked like he wasn't sliding across the Sydney Harbour Bridge on a shovel, but he did it, Mason.
He did it for reals.
Did it for real.
Anyway, I don't know why that one didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was just in Barbie. People like that.
People like Barbie, Emily Blunt's in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, Craven's Own.
That's right.
Yep. No, man.
That's his brand of salad dressing. Craven's Own.
Coming at number 9, we've got The Crow. On a budget of $50 million, it made $23 million at the box office. I couldn't get behind any of this. I was interested in seeing something else with The Crow. I think it was probably a mistake to do a reboot as opposed to a passing of the torch, because they make him Eric Draven again.
That's true.
Which is the role, of course, Brandon Lee famously died doing.
Yep.
I think it could have been like a nice homage to that, and almost like a legacy kind of sequel, which I don't necessarily love, but there's certain movies where maybe you don't just want to be like...
So what I'm hearing is you wanted a scene in which a digitally resurrected Brandon Lee as the Crow showed up in the movie and said, "Here, have my crow powers."
Yeah, that's right.
I respect you, Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård or whatever. Right. And then Harold Ramis is there and he hands him a proton pack, and it's
it's
just on.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I just couldn't get behind this. I thought some of the action was all right, but I didn't like the twee kind of love story bullshit in it. I didn't care for that.
That's because you hate young people.
I do hate young people.
They were young.
They weren't
they?
young.
They were young.
They're like mid-30s,
I
Mason.
know, but they had a youthful vibe. They had a lot of tattoos.
They had a lot of eyeliner. And then a lot of Invincible Man stuff, unless he didn't believe in himself. But then he did.
So true, isn't it?
And then he was the Crow and he kept falling into a puddle into a trade station.
That's also the plot of Megalopolis. Just a man who believes in himself until he doesn't. And then his eyes glows.
Yeah.
And then he believes in himself again and he's fine and he can stop time. And then he made that lava lamp city. Is that on here? I guess it doesn't
What do
count.
you think?
Oh, maybe. I don't think it counts though.
Why wouldn't it count?
Because we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. At number 8, we've got Horizon, an American Saga, Part 1 of 4. Budget of $50 million, made $38 million at the box office. This is a return to Kevin Costner making a big epic and just bombing out hard. The 90s have returned.
That's right.
We're getting The Crow and we're getting a Kevin Costner bomb.
And all it cost him was untold millions of dollars and his marriage, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So they filmed the first two.
Okay.
This first one pivoted pretty much directly to streaming, or maybe a couple of weeks in cinemas after it didn't do super well. Its sequel was supposed to release on August 16th of 2024.
Now that's already happened.
Yeah, that passed quite a long time ago. And so I believe the idea is that you get it on streaming, get it out there, get your Yellowstone fans. Yellowstone pretty much paid for this, by the way, having Kevin Costner be the star of that for the longest time. And then have it kind of gain momentum and then kind of like Dune 1 did, I guess. And then people will go out and see part 2, and then he'll be able to film 3 and 4.
Right.
This is a movie, if you want it to do well, you got to let your dad know what service it's on.
That's so true, isn't it? Yeah.
Get your dad on board, man.
Yeah, go to your dad's house, turn off motion smoothing on the TV, and then set up Horizon.
Zero Dawn.
Yep, that one. Yep.
Part 1, an American man.
Yep.
I didn't say it.
No.
I'm not against Westerns, but there was nothing about this from the trailer that made me go, oh, I need to kind of...
Yeah.
I need to engage with this. You know, I mean, I watched Unforgiven recently, and I'm like, I don't know if it gets much better than that.
That's right.
It's a movie I've seen a lot, and I don't know, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Number 7. It was a big spum year. You know that.
That's
more
right.
than anyone. But the second biggest bomb, it seems, was Madam Webb. On a budget of $80 million, though it's thought to be more likely in the low 100s, it made $100 million. So it probably lost, they think, maybe $80 million.
Okay.
Maybe when you factor in everything else.
So 80% of the money.
Yeah.
Lost,
I mean, what do you say about one of the worst movies?
Well, first of all, shocking to me that it came out this year.
I know.
Feels like a 2023 or possibly a 2013 movie, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty generous.
Yeah.
It is that thing, and we've been hearing more about it, that Sony didn't want to put Spider-Man in any of these movies, even though they could. There's a Ben Parker and a evil Spider-Man, and baby Peter Parker is getting born.
That's right. And that guy, he doesn't want to lose everything he has, which is that nice apartment.
That's right.
Yeah, and look, as I've said on our podcast, The Weekly Planet, I don't blame anybody for being in these movies, these spum movies, because you get in there and you do what you can do, and nobody's going to blame you. Nobody's going to think you could have saved this movie. It's not your fault.
No, it's nobody's fault. I mean, it's Sony.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
And also maybe all the stars of this movie were tricked into it because they thought it was an MCU movie.
That's true. Except for Sydney Sweeney, who tricked them because she agreed to be in the movie in exchange for some money and the green light to make Anyone But You.
That's right.
And that made a lot of money.
That did very well.
Good for her.
Yeah, she has talked about that being a team player. Anyways, off the back of this and Craven, Spum is dead. For now. The Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies.
That's right.
Number 6. This was a bit of a shame. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, a budget of $168 million. It made $173 million. I mean, I didn't think it was as good as Fury Road, but I think there's a lot to like here. I'm also not surprised that it didn't do well because looking back, the last Mad Max movie barely broke even, maybe. Like, it's beloved and it's incredible.
Yeah.
But a prequel spin-off Mad Max movie coming way too late after the last one where Charlize Theron is recast. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy did a good job in this. Yeah, I don't know what they were kind of thinking in hindsight, putting that much money into this, despite it being quite good.
You're saying go back to shoestring budget.
Yeah.
Like Mad Max 1.
Exactly.
Okay, just get Anya Taylor-Joy in an old Ford Falcon and have her fanging around the bloody...
Phillip Islands.
Yeah, nice.
Or whatever.
Yeah, terrific.
I mean, we also did pay the price of this, and I mean me and you specifically, because apparently the Australian taxpayer paid for half of this movie.
Whoa.
And you might think that's something that we'd be angry about, but honestly, the amount of money we've put into war crimes.
Oh, sure, right.
You know, that, like, I don't care if they make a movie, like, with it, even if it was terrible. This is not the worst thing our government has done.
I'd rather they take all the war crime money and put it in a movie.
Yeah.
I enjoy movies. I don't enjoy war crimes, actually.
Man. Yeah. Number 5, we've got RedOne. Still in cinemas, some places.
Okay.
Budget of $250 million. This could move around on the list a little bit, but we're keeping it here. It's estimated that it will lose over $100 million.
Damn.
There was, of course, that expose that came out about The Rock and him being late to set. And
peeing in bottles,
bottles.
pooping in bottles, turding out, as it were. Yeah, we heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, he did confirm the peeing in bottles thing, which
right.
you don't have to do.
No. Also, I think now is probably a good time to point out once again that a lot of these movies do seem like scams to some degree.
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't have the figures here, but I imagine The Rock and Chris Evans got paid an insane amount of money to be in these movies.
Yeah.
Because again, there's no back end because they don't get any money from DVDs anymore. So, you know.
It's getting a lot of money to make a movie that, quite frankly, was bad. And I did give it a passing grade when we reviewed it, but I was really hungover. So I have taken that back.
That's
and I
true.
don't normally do that, but kind of inexcusable when it cost $250 million. And it's just nothing.
It's obviously intended to be in the vein of a Men in Black style movie, but it is not.
Yeah,
it's not the worst one of those.
No.
It is certainly not the best.
No, Men in Black.
Men in Black 1 is.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4, we got Borderlands. Budget of... budget of...
Oh, that bad taste in my mouth's come back.
Yeah. Budget of $120 million. Estimated loss at maybe $114 million. This bombed immediately. As soon as it hit cinemas, like, it was over. There was never a second where this was looking to do well.
No, and yet they greenlit Borderlands 4, the game.
Oh, they did,
and they
didn't
announced
they?
that sort of in the wake of this. They were clearly expecting it to do well.
Yeah.
Or for people to like it on some level.
I didn't like it on any level.
No, it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's just it's unfunny. The action's boring.
Yeah.
It's got a weird vibe.
Looks like shit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, everyone's old.
Everyone's so old. But nobody ever brings that up.
Great cast.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
really?
Yeah.
Eli Roth has talked about this movie very briefly in terms of, like, I have a lot to say about this.
What does he mean by that?
Studio interference.
Oh.
Randy Pitchford.
Make them older.
Yeah.
Make it worse.
Yeah. I mean, there's that video of Randy Pitchford who owns Gearbox or whatever, or did, and he's going around doing a set interview. And this is like from 3 years ago, maybe. This movie took forever to come out. And it looks like he's holding everybody hostage. Yeah, not a great guy from all accounts. And I think he did have a very heavy hand in this. And it was going for that Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, but it just missed the mark entirely. But this is abysmal and boring and not even fun to make fun of.
Okay, but did you like the part where Jack Black pooped out all those bullets or whatever?
For a long time.
For a long time.
I mean, I do like good jokes. And
So true,
And that
isn't it?
one delivered.
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Let's talk about Megalopolis, all right?
All right, okay, here we go.
I don't know why you didn't want to talk about this, but on a budget of $120 million, it made just under $14 million.
Oh, that's a big loss.
Yeah. So this was obviously, this Francis Ford Coppola's own money.
And his passion project.
Yep.
Every idea he's had for the last 50 years he's put into this movie.
Absolutely, and you can tell. It took decades to get going because it kept getting delayed for various reasons and recast. One was because it was around 9/11 that they were going to film at one point, and a lot of the themes and ideas feel like they're from the early 2000s. In this. He's like an 85-year-old man or whatever it is. Also, the budget blew out as it was filming. They switched from like the volume to green screen.
Okay.
Like they hadn't really made an effects-heavy kind of movie before like this, and he hadn't really directed in a while. A lot of the crew were fired during filming, including its production designer and supervising art director. So a lot of this was just kind of like, what are we doing?
Okay,
what
terrific.
are we making?
Okay. These are all great ideas from a veteran filmmaker.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
I mean, that's kind of what they were banking on. It was like, well, he made Apocalypse Now. And among other incredible movies.
And in a way, he's made an Apocalypse Now.
He has. And like, those were a disaster to make.
Right.
This movie's about the making of that movie.
Oh, what if we're going to get a documentary about the making of this?
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was also reports of him kissing extras on set to get them in the
crook
mood.
behavior.
Also, look, not to excuse any of that, but he was going through some things. His wife was sick and then passed away shortly after filming. There was a lot going on during this. Also, it's fucking weird as shit. And it's not, like, it's interesting. I would not call it good, though.
Yeah.
Could I make something better than this? No, that's not what I'm saying.
Huh.
But
I think I could.
yeah, you probably could.
I'd just do another Crow movie.
Yeah, like inexplicable line deliveries,
So go back to the club.
patchwork ideas. It is entertaining in moments.
And look, and as I said at the time, I feel like a lot of people said, oh, there's a good heart to this movie, and I don't think there is.
I don't think there
I
is.
think it's just all the ideas that money men and producers and what have you knocked back over the years, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to put them all in this movie.
Yep.
And maybe there's a reason they knocked them
I'll
back.
show you.
That's right.
And he did. Yeah. And they say that maybe it's not his last movie. Maybe he's got one more in him. And God damn it, I hope he does, Mason.
I hope it's Megalopolis too.
Let's go. At number 2. And maybe this is number 1. There's some Hollywood accounting, but, we'll see.
Well, in the bowl, sometimes it's a mix of number 1 and number 2.
It is. Often we find out later what really happened. We've got Joker Folie à Deux. Budget, $200 million. Does that seem too much to you for a courtroom drama with one explosion in it?
Yeah, but again, they got to pay everybody an outstanding amount of money.
That's true.
No, so.
Box office return on this was $206 million. It's expected to lose anywhere between $150 to $200 million. This cost $100 million to market. Todd Phillips, of course, had complete creative control because the first Joker movie it was made for under $100 million, I believe, and it made $1 billion.
And it made 1 billion Jokers. Everybody who saw it turned into the Joker.
That's
you and I both turned into the Joker for a while.
There was that hot minute where we turned into the Joker and we Jokerized our local supermarkets.
That's right. With toilet paper. We ran around with toilet paper.
Yeah. So Todd Phillips also distanced himself from DC, and James Gunn and Peter Safran, who are obviously running the DCU now, they ended up not attending the premiere. And it's also, I found it extremely funny on a number of levels, one of them being that the message of this movie is basically, you didn't understand that first movie, and if you like the Joker, guess what? He's not really the Joker, and also you're a fucking loser. So...
Well, guess what, Todd Phillips? I didn't like the Joker. Not the movie, not the character.
You got it, did you?
I didn't think he was cool at all.
No.
I knew. I saw his big saggy underpants. I knew he wasn't cool. If he were cool, he'd wear leopard print briefs.
He would, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, you had an incredible idea for the premise of this movie of what you could do with Harley Quinn, who's in this.
Give us a Bonnie and Clyde kind of, a riotous crime adventure,
Yeah, I had an idea, which it's probably not equally good and it's probably more traditional, but maybe put an ugly-ass Batman in this.
Oh, yeah, nice. Sure.
So real grub, covered in garbage bags, in his garbage bag suit.
Okay.
Fighting in the mud.
How would you square that with the fact that a child Bruce Wayne is in the first movie?
Well, he's not the real Batman or whatever. Just like this Joker wasn't the real Joker.
That's perfect. Todd Phillips, you got me. I thought that the child Bruce Wayne in the first movie was going to turn into Batman, but it's actually the garbage bag man. It's going to turn into Batman.
He's very
Always
good.
10 steps ahead, Todd Phillips.
Yeah. I think a musical could have worked. I think there are some interesting ideas in it, but it's kind of a dreary reflection on a movie we know. We saw it.
We did see it.
And it's like, he did all those murders. And it's like, yeah, we all saw it, man.
Yeah.
So.
And we didn't think it was cool.
No, we didn't. Anyways, we've got some honorable mentions before we get to number 1. Kraven the Hunter has a budget of $110 million, maybe more. It's real bad. It's bombing hard. It will be in this list. I just don't know where.
Do you think one of the reasons it might be bombing hard is because it's the 4th of these movies that came out this year and people saw some of the other ones and went, why?
Yeah.
Why do you keep making these?
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
This is a protest non-view, thank you.
Feels that way. The first Omen didn't do super well, even though it had a budget of $30 million. It probably, it still probably lost money.
Wow, that studio's probably going like, oh, man.
Very good.
Yeah,
I guess.
Oh, men.
Abigail. Didn't mind this one.
Oh.
Directors of Ready or Not.
That's right.
It's fun. I think this probably will do well. Like one of those ones that'll do well, over time.
Good cast, a lot of fun.
Yep. The movie If. That had a budget of $110 million. And it was what if Pixar was real and then your friends were imaginary and Ryan Reynolds, but maybe he was imaginary.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful world. And isn't it nice to be a child and a dad?
Wow. Sounds beautiful and wonderful. Sounds like the anti-Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yeah, it was all right. I took my son. I didn't love it, but he was like, yeah,
Sure. I wish an old man was holding a purple crayon and was making all his dreams come true.
This is one my son did actually love. It's Transformers 1. Even though it was budgeted at $75 million, it probably didn't break even. And a sign of that is that Hasbro won't fund any more movies or co-finance, which is what they had been doing.
Okay.
Here's a quote from Hasbro Inc. Chief Executive Officer Chris Cox.
Go on. That's a normal name.
Okay, yeah.
What do you want from me?
We want to reach fans where they want to play, and increasingly that is through digital expressions of their favorite brands.
Yuck. I should have made fun of his stupid name. Yucko.
But at number 1, we've got the movie Argyle. Budgeted $200 million.
I forgot about Argyle.
It made $96 million. This was also off the back of Apple losing a bunch of money on movies where they put a bunch of money into them. Killers of the Flower Moon is a really good example. I mean, that I did enjoy. Napoleon also bunch of money into that, didn't make its money back. It's really, I think, having Apple reassessing where they're allocating funds. Sure, they have infinite money. We know that.
It's true.
But still, you can't just be blowing money on
green velvet Nero jackets and awful haircuts.
Yeah, at a Kingsman side call, but maybe it's set in a Kingsman book or something.
Or maybe in this universe, Kingsman's fictional.
Yeah.
Maybe. Doesn't matter.
It's got some big stars in it. Sam Rockwell's doing little action beats.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I hated this.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
I really didn't think I would, but it was...
Probably why it didn't do well, because we said it was a bad movie and everybody else said it was a bad movie and then nobody went to see it.
I love Matthew Vaughn's movies, like so many of them. I just found this really unpleasant. Yeah, I don't know specifically why. It felt like the twist seemed really obvious. It felt, I don't know, I didn't like the haircuts.
It's got an uncanny valueness to it, despite the fact that everybody in it is real, presumably.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, this did come out. You didn't imagine it.
No, it's real. But it did, make up, that massive loss in the merch, which was that fake novel.
That's true. That fake, whatever.
It's probably written with AI or whatever.
Absolutely. All right, listen. That's the last video of the year. But look, things don't stop over at bigsandwich.co, where over the break in January, there'll be videos going up on YouTube, old stuff we're putting together.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Ad revenue goes off a cliff. I'm not making new stuff. I'm not a Rube Mason.
Yep.
But there is new stuff at bigsandwich.co.
That's right.
Where we do bonus movie commentaries. We do video game let's plays. We do
bonus podcasts.
Check it out if you are interested. It's a way of supporting this channel if you are so inclined. Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. We're going to be doing our big final episode of the year where we give out all the awards.
That's right.
For things we loved and didn't love.
That's right.
Yeah.
And some people are going to go over the armload of awards. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Francis Ford Coppola.
That's right.
Best Lava Lamp City. Best John Voight boner.
Yep.
That's a new category for this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, a little crossbow, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or a little bow and arrow.
Oh.
Yeah, very good. Anyways, thank you so much, Lawrence, for the edit.
Thank you, Lawrence.
And we'll see everybody real soon.
Grab that gem, guys. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.